I'm ready to dive deep into the 2000 King of the Ring. Are you?
Bing bang boom.
The King of the Ring is serious business.
A fabled history and heralded past.
I cannot believe this moment right here.
The King of the Ring.
Sing it.
Kings become champions.
You win the King of the Ring, you become an immediate player.
And champions become legends.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
8 men on the verge of superstardom. Only one will be crowned king.
Boy, a lot of emotions running high here tonight.
This is the most important thing in my life.
Are you great competitors going to get sucked into that old divide and conquer strategy?
Who the hell do you think you are? Defeat either one of the three of us, and that person will be the World Wrestling Federation champion.
Yeah, that makes sense, Vince.
This is everyday real life, huh? WWF Championship is what I want. That belt, it belongs to me. Just bring it.
6 men, 1 championship.
It will be who wants it more.
And now, Subway presents the WWF King of
Subway.
the Ring.
The way a
Oh,
sandwich
yeah.
should be. They're fighting. They're fighting.
So much sword play.
I had to keep that in there.
It's so
was
much
like-
knocking out the names and stuff. There's a lot going on. But the King of the Ring took place on June 25th, 2000. The show emanated from the Fleet Center, now known as the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Of course, that is the home of the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins of the NHL, and the Celtics of the NBA, of course. On this night, there were more than 17,000 people in the building. And what were we doing at this time? Well, we're 2 weeks after a horrendous Great American Bash pay-per-view from WCW. And now here we are for the 8th pay-per-view installment of the King of the Ring from WWF. So these days, we have, again, the King and Queen of the Ring. They had their own show last year. Now it's Night of Champions. But we only had one Kang back in the day, back in 2000. And the tournament, as we discussed earlier, was much different than it is today. Because, as we said, they used a series of fatal four-ways in the first round this year. But, of course, back in 2000, they were one-on-one matches throughout. And a lot of them were featured on television, just like, the Fatal Four Ways were today. But back in 2000, WWF had the largest King of the Ring tournament field, I think, ever to this point. 32 people in the tournament.
Wow.
Instead of the traditional 16, which is pretty much what it was throughout, and still is, throughout the lifetime of the King of the Ring. I think there might have been a time or two where there was 8, but for the most part, it's 16. But in this tournament, 32 people, 31 men and 1 woman, that 1 woman being Chyna. She also competed in the 1999 King of the Ring as well. But, instead of 16, Vince said, let's double that. Let's double up. And this was the second year in a row, actually. I take that back. This was 99 and 2000. No, I'll take that back. I'm reading my notes wrong. I apologize. The second year in a row that the tournament had 3 rounds on pay-per-view, I should say.
Yeah.
Usually it was only the semifinals and the finals, but for whatever reason in 99 and 2000, the quarterfinals were also on pay-per-view, giving us, on this night at least, a card that features 11 matches. That's like an AEW show.
I liked that. In 93, 94, they had the quarterfinals too, and it was fun. And then they just started airing just the semifinals and finals. I was like, that's lame. It's King of the Ring, man. Like, it's about the tournament.
I get you. I think I'm a fan of the semifinals and the finals only because do you really want people wrestling 3 times in one night?
Yeah.
And then those first round, those quarterfinal matches aren't going to be that long. They're not going to be that good. So why do them? You can have a better match on TV in the quarterfinals than you probably will in the pay-per-view when you're jamming in 3 rounds of a tournament. So to me, you got to earn the right to get to the pay-per-view. So you got to get to the
get you.
semis, like the Final Four in basketball, college basketball. Yeah. You don't. You're a regional champ. You go to the Final Four, but the quarterfinals ain't part of that. The national quarterfinals is the national semis in the final. That's part of the Final Four, and you travel to the sites of the Final Four, and that's where you got to earn the right to be there. And I think that's how I like it, at least for the King of the Ring. I think 3 rounds of matches on TV, it's too many matches. Not on TV, on pay-per-view, too many matches, and I think the matches are just generally shorter. You don't really get the full extent of the match as you could if it was just on TV.
I get you.
Okay. I'm glad you understand.
That's a good point.
Well, I appreciate that. Another unique fact about this event is that it featured a 6-man tag for a singles championship. Yes, and in that championship was the top title, the WWF Championship. And the champion didn't have to get pinned to lose, which means he's probably going to lose.
Can't just call it a 6-pack challenge.
No, it's a tag team match, baby. I mean, it'll eventually break down into that. But
and by this point, they already had a 6-pack challenge, so it wasn't like a new concept.
Yeah, they did it at Unforgiven.
99, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think they already had like 2 by this point, and like a 5-pack at one point.
Nobody likes a 5-pack.
That's true.
You just give me the extra beer. Come on, give me a 6-pack. Just give me a 5-pack.
The whole time I'm watching that, I'm just like, this could have been a 6-pack challenge, but I don't know why they did the tag. I think they were trying a little too hard because Vince Russo left, and they're like, having 2000 all to themselves,
Yeah, it just felt like they were trying to create unique matches out of nowhere. It's like we've done one-on-one matches, but now we got to spice it up. And they would just pulling things out of thin air instead of like doing the due diligence of like telling good stories. And look, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like WWF in 2000 was necessarily bad. It's still my favorite year in wrestling, and it was white hot in 2000. So it's not like what they were doing wasn't working, but you can tell that they had begun to run out of ideas. When we're doing 6-man tags for the WWF Championship where the one guy gets pinned and he wins, or in other areas, we got an evening gown match for the hardcore title with Pat Patterson and Jared Briscoe. Yeah, what? And then we got the handicap tables dumpster match. So it's like, this is odd, right? Yeah. But despite those odd booking decisions and stipulations, WWF could seemingly do no wrong. Business was booming, and that was without the company's centerpiece in Steve Austin. And the Rock just assumed that role, and WWF just kept on rolling. Just kept on rolling. What do you remember about this time in WWF at this point in 2000?
I remember being preparing myself for plastic surgery at this time. I think I got it in the end of June or July. Born with a cleft lip and palate and broken nose, so I got my nose reconstructed that summer. And I think it was a week or 2 after this, because I think it was in July. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of watching wrestling, but like, obviously nervous about what to expect with my personal life coming up to plastic surgeon shattering my nose and rebuilding it from scratch. So I don't think I was. I think the 6-man tag and everything like that, I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, I'm getting surgery soon and shit's gone off the rails, man. Like, I wasn't into a lot of what was going on. Maybe it's because Steve Austin was out. But yeah, I wasn't feeling a lot of the title picture. I guess I liked The Rock, but I was never like the biggest Rock guy. I was always, because Austin came first to me. So I was like, anyone who comes after the big guy that I like, I don't like as much. And so obviously The Rock was the guy at this time. And I'm like, well, he's no Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I wasn't like on The Rock bandwagon, but to me, it would have been better than The Undertaker or Kane or any of the heels, obviously. So I'm just like, okay, like, I guess he's entertaining. So
you mean you didn't expect Undertaker and Kane to win the title here? Is that not what you were expecting?
I mean, I didn't honestly. I didn't expect Triple H to lose it. I thought it was like
Oh, that's fair.
I thought it was a hokey thing, and I was like, the way they're talking about it, Triple H is scared and all that. I was like, oh well, clearly he's going to keep it then. But they had Vince McMahon lose to put the belt on The Rock. So, I mean, it was a little crazy. I thought maybe I was already under amnesia.
That's crazy. It was a little nuts when you think about it. We spent a lot of time piling on WCW for their odd booking decisions at Great American Bash 2000, but we cannot let WWF off the hook for what they tried to do on this night when it comes to the 6-man tag, the handicap dumpster tables match.
DX wasn't even like entertaining. They were heels, right? And Tori in there. I was like, this isn't the DX I liked. I hated. I didn't hate, but I was so disinterested.
It was kind of all over the place. And then, of course, the evening gown match. Evening gown hardcore championship match. It's like that came straight out of Vince McMahon's mind.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one else who came up with that but Vince McMahon. And he probably thoroughly enjoyed it. No one else did, but I'm sure Vince did. But as we've done a lot lately, we've got our new format, I should say. We've done a lot lately. We've done it for like a year or two now. What am I talking about? But we will have our match of the night, our worst match of the night, our top non-wrestling happening, worst non-wrestling happening. Of course, we got some hidden gems or two, And of course, I got lots of random thoughts. But Nick, match of the night from King of the Ring 2000.
Slim pickings, honestly, on this pay-per-view. So I'll go with the safe choice, and I do think it was the best bell-to-bell match of the night. First round match, quarterfinal, Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho. Name value, kind of propping that up a little bit, sure, but I do think it was, Kurt's promo in the beginning before the match was fantastic. Talk about the Boston sports teams, how bad they were, which they were, and then the run they've gone on since. I thought it was just, it was even funnier now watching it back than in the moment, because obviously in the moment, and obviously the Edge and Christian thing in the beginning of their match, just poking fun at Boston fans. Big fan of that. So
I have that match as like an honorable mention. I have another match before that, but I also have Kurt Angle and of course Edge and Christian, trashing Boston sports teams as my top 9 wrestling happening. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I disagree with you as far as the actual best match of the night. I'm going to go with that smorgasbord that was the main event as the match of the night.
wow.
I think Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho was a great King of the Ring match for what it was. But obviously, the one that had the most people that were over in it, and it doesn't hurt when you have 6 people in it. But you got the most people that are over. The crowd reacted big. It was a title change. The wrestling itself wasn't bad. It was just... the stipulation was weird, but I thought the main event was the match of the night. I thought that
Earl Hebner, man, he screwed
I
up
get it
a bunch of times.
I'm sure he did, but I thought here's the highlights that I had here. For one, this was Undertaker's first pay-per-view match as the American Badass, and his first pay-per-view since SummerSlam in '99, which was interesting little fact there. I thought Jerry the King Lawler's impersonation of Kane in the beginning was hysterical when he talked. I think they were like he was impersonating Kane as like I forget what was the context of it. It was like they're trying to rally people up or something like that. And damn, I wish I could remember the context. I didn't write it down, but I just remember King going grrr when he's supposed to be Kane. That was hilarious, and I'm really mad at myself for not remembering the context of this joke. But it was something like The Rock would say this, but Kane, he just went grrr. And I thought that was funny. I don't know why. The good guys started off beating up Shane a whole bunch.
Shane, man.
Took all the bumps.
Better wrestler than I think we remember.
I guess.
Like he took the bumps, like the way he took the bumps as an art. He gave some moves that, like trained wrestlers give. Like I think he was better in the ring than people remember.
He was good, and there's a reason why people liked him, because he did take all the big bumps, at the very least. Eventually, things broke down.
They're like, he'll die for us. We
Right,
like him.
at the very least. Fighting is happening outside the ring. Kane attacks The Undertaker, which is like, whoa, he attacked his own brother. And The Rock. Triple H, though, he's like, Kane is on my side, so we cool, right? Nope, Kane tombstones Triple H. But Undertaker breaks up the pin attempt and then clocks Kane in the head with a chair. So all hell is broken loose. This was a 6-man tag team match. Now it's just 6 men beating the crap out of each other. Shane McMahon climbs to the top rope. Undertaker catches him and chokeslams him from the top turnbuckle outside of the ring through the announce table, and Shane McMahon took a nasty looking bump through that table. Looked like he landed right on his shoulder.
If we had a format that included spot of the night, that would be mine, because that was a great spot.
Yeah, we probably should do that. Spot of the night.
I did not expect that. Like, watching it back, I was like, oh, snap. Like,
yeah, that was crazy.
Great.
That was crazy. That's a good idea. I'm going to write that down for spot of the night to our format from here on out. But after that, The Rock is still in the ring. He gets chokeslammed by Kane. Vince says, oh, The Rock is down? Let me try to do a people's elbow. Instead of win the match. No, I'm going to try to do the people's elbow. But instead, while he's running the ropes, The Rock jumps up, hits him on the rock bottom, and pins Vince McMahon to become the new WWF champion. Mind you, I don't know if we made this clear. Triple H is the champion. He is the defending champion. But The Rock
and he wasn't involved in the decision?
He was not involved.
You're telling me
in the
he
decision.
Lost the title without losing?
Pins Vince to win the championship. Triple H's reaction to Howard Finkel announcing that there's a new champion is classic. He goes, "No, oh my God!" Like you saw him get pinned, right? Why you knew the stipulations going in. You knew the deal. And then to celebrate, The Rock hits Vince McMahon with the belt, pulls his best John Cena impersonation, and then puts his foot on his chest as the show goes off the air. So yeah, that was my match of the night. But I did enjoy Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho as well.
I'll tell you, The Rock was the legal guy in the match, and when Kane chokeslammed him, and then Triple H was like, "Yeah, my buddy Kane," and Kane tombstones Triple H, and then goes for the pin. And what is Earl doing? Counting the pin? Kane's not the legal guy.
Things broke down pretty quickly.
And Vince was not the legal guy because he never tug in. Triple H never tuck him in. He was the legal guy. Rub and tug, I guess.
No, tagged. Tagged them in. There's a word for that. It's past tense. It's tagged.
Tugged them in. So Vince wasn't the legal guy, and this apparently never came up after the fact. So Earl Hebner not paying attention, rules out the window. Nobody's paying attention to anything. It was messy. That's why I didn't like it. It wasn't my match of the night because it was just messy. And Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho, I mean, it was kind of messy at the end. Like Chris Jericho didn't have to sexually assault Stephanie, but he did. And not a fan of that. And also, he's calling Stephanie all these names, in promos, and yet he goes for a kiss. Never understood that logic, even as a teenager. I was just like,
Same.
It makes no. He must be jealous of Triple H then. If you're kissing Stephanie, like you obviously want that. Like you don't do it just to, like if you're saying all these names about her, but you actually go to kiss her, then you don't really believe any of that. So it made Jericho kind of look like a clown to me a little bit.
I had that as my worst non-wrestling happening when Jericho laid the kiss on Stephanie McMahon. And then he turned around and got exactly what he deserved by getting an angle slam from Kurt Angle and losing the match. Keep your eye on the ball, creep.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep your eye on the ball. So, yeah, I had that as my worst non-wrestling happening. But let's move on to the worst match of the night.
This is tough.
Is it? It's not that tough for me, but I'll let you go first.
You know what? After much deliberation and hours and hours after this show of trying to come up with the worst match, I landed on that Hardcore Championship evening gown
Oh,
match.
man. I'm sure that was a lot of painstaking effort to come up with that.
I've listed pros and cons.
Run it through the computer, through the algorithm, get the calculations correct,
Why? Like a pay-per-view. Why?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. This This didn't even belong to Sunday Night Heat.
Like, my mom's like, I pay money for this.
I don't blame her. You put this on pay-per-view. People pay $30, I'd assume, if I remember correctly.
At least.
Probably good $30 in 2000. Again, I know the young bucks out there. $30, y'all broke. $30 back in 2000 was a good amount of money for a wrestling show, bro. Okay, that took some convincing in my household, and it didn't work because I didn't watch the show and live, so it didn't work for me.
Like, you had two big companies still at the time, and obviously ECW was still doing pay-per-view. So there's only so much to go around. Both companies were doing monthly pay-per-views. So, there were people that I'm sure ordered both. So that's at least 60 right there.
Whew. In 2000? Oh, my Lord. In the new millennium, the first year of the new millennium? Or the new millennium? Nah, we can't do it. Not every month. And then you give me Geraldine Briscoe and Patricia Patterson in evening gowns. At least that's a joke I made. But it's Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. And you ask why? Who was this for? Vince. That's it.
Yep.
This got a video package.
If I'm going to be in the main event, you guys are going to wrestle too.
This got a video package, which I thought was, I'm not going to lie to you, the video was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. They put a lot of production behind it, which is also absurd. Why did you put that level of production behind this? You have people working their tails off, breaking their bodies up and from one side of the world to the next, and you don't give them a second of video production. And you give, granted, legendary wrestlers, Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson, but well past their prime and not wrestlers, and not anyone wants to see wrestle, let alone wrestle in evening gowns. And they got the very in-depth and kind of hilarious video package.
Dude, I'm telling you, they were like, we'll do it, but you better build it right. Make sure that people are amped for it. And
nobody was amped.
That was their way.
That's not getting amped. It was all to just get a good laugh at the two legendary figures in wrestling. Not enough to just have them wrestle. They gotta come out in evening gowns. Gerald Briscoe comes out to Real American.
Yeah.
What?
Like both of them came out to that song before. So
I mean,
that was like their theme.
Isn't Gerald Briscoe part native? So maybe he is a Real American after all.
Well, when they would
the
come
song
out,
choice
like,
was wild.
99, like when both of them would like enter, they would play this song.
To Real, and Pat Patterson, straight out of Montreal, straight out of Quebec. I don't know if he's from Montreal, but both Real Americans, I guess. I don't know why the song in general.
He had a different one. Just, he had like Patterson had an old school romp theme.
It sounded like Fabulous Moolah theme music.
Yeah.
Or something like that. The Pat Patterson had. I didn't understand it.
Too, I believe.
It was so bizarre.
Lawler name dropped Moolah. So maybe it was a Moolah thing.
I just find like there are people who don't believe drag queens should read to children. I literally saw a video of a woman asking why people in drag queens don't read to the homeless or veterans, and it's like, because they're adults and they can read. Like, you don't read to adults, you read to children. So there's that. But there are probably people who don't want that, but will watch this 100 times. This is way more offensive than a drag queen's reading to children. like what is this? Was just nonsense. like this is nothing. This was nothing.
The vignettes before, when they're looking for their outfits or making demands for their outfits, wearing fake boobs.
I did enjoy Pat Patterson looking for his dress and his gown and being very particular about what he was going to wear.
Listen, man.
I did find that kind of funny.
They were serious. They want to look sexy.
I did find that kind of funny. The fashion designer is like, I can't work miracles. Can't work miracles, Pat. That's crazy.
I actually have that.
I don't like any of these. I'm stuck. I've got to do that. I can't help it, And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. Look at this dress. Undertaker can get into that dress. That's
Undertaker.
Look at this. This was way too big. Size 6 would be perfect for me. Black I don't like. This is what my grandmother would wear. I can't take that. I don't know. What is this? Michael Jackson's miniskirt?
Oh my God.
I wonder how many chicken died for that. I need
What?
something from Hollywood. I need something that's gonna make me look thin, sexy. I've got to look better than Briscoe. I'm the champ.
Pat, I'm good, but I'm no miracle worker.
That's
What are
crazy.
you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me?
But then they cut. That was like the last thing. Like, I wanted to know what she was trying to tell him.
Don't do this match. Don't. That's what they're trying to tell y'all. We
I
didn't
love
ask for.
his logic is I need to look better because I'm the champ.
I mean, that sound logic to me. If I'm the champ, make me look better than the other person.
Challenger.
The challenger. I'm the champ.
I should be priority.
Exactly. Y'all should spend way more time on me. Probably no time on the challenger. Who is that? I'm the champ.
Let's hear the other one.
Jerry, tonight you have to have some mixed emotions. I mean, you have a chance to win your hardcore title back, but you have to do it in the first ever hardcore title evening gown.
Why are you laughing?
That's funny, Coach. You think that's funny I got to dress like a woman? You think that's funny I got to go out in front of all these people in a dress? Well, let me tell you something. The only emotion I have running through my head right now is the emotion of revenge.
Well, technically, Jerry, revenge isn't an emotion. It's more
Shut
about
up, Coach, and listen to me. Patterson stole my hardcore title under the guise of friendship. But I
That is
guarantee
true,
you
though.
one thing. Patterson's going to find out tonight that I'm all man.
As his dress arrives.
Your evening gown and pumps have arrived. Would you like the regular panties or the crotchless kind?
What? Come on.
Oh my.
They swore they were funny, man.
Crotchless?
Why would he wear crotchless underwear? To a hardcore championship
He
match.
got
That
so
don't
bad.
sound.
He got so bad.
That don't sound safe. You should probably make sure all your stuff is packed up neat
Should.
for a hardcore championship
would
match.
think. You would think.
Could be some sharp objects out there. Blunt objects too. You don't want none of that. But yet during the match itself, Pat Patterson pulled out a maxi pad and rubbed it in Briscoe's face just because.
Just, listen, that wasn't the only thing. They had a lot of innuendo, obviously. Pat Patterson also had a banana. They was stuffing into Briscoe's mouth. Like, what are we doing?
Briscoe choked Pat Patterson with his own wig. And JR was like, somebody sitting at home saying, this ain't wrestling. I do love JR when he sees like terrible stuff. He pretty much agrees that it's terrible. He says it in his own little way that this is
Like
garbage.
somebody out there is saying what I'm thinking right now.
Right. No, that's what you saying, JR. That's what you're saying right now. Don't try to project that onto the viewer. Somebody said this is trash. Not me. I love my job. But fortunately, as the fans were just booing constantly throughout the match, by the way, there was no positive heat coming out of this.
No.
Fortunately, I've never been so happy to see Crash Holly come in with a trash can to make it slightly more interesting. Or did he? Because he stripped both men down to their undies.
Hey, the rules of the match.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. It is an evening gown match. So you got to strip him down. But he's not in the match, so why does he have to strip him down? But he does eventually hit Pat Patterson with a trash can and pins him to regain, for the 14th time, I don't know, the Hardcore Championship. And like JR said, thank goodness. It's over.
It might have been the best moment of the night for me because I'm like, okay, thankfully that Patterson Briscoe stuff's over. I don't think it was, but at least Crash is the hardcore champion, and they're going to do this 24/7 thing. At least it's on a wrestler. That was kind of my thought process as a teenager back then, who's super online for 2 years at this point. Like, yeah, at least somebody with work rate's got the hardcore title now.
Oh, yeah, that work rate. Which, I mean, to be by all rights, and this might be a hidden gem of sorts, but Crash got to show off that work rate against Kurt Angle in the semifinals.
Yeah.
He did a lot of, I mean, you didn't really get to see him just wrestle. He's such a comedic character. But he goes against Kurt Angle, and he gets a lot of his stuff in. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you almost forget that Crash Holly could really do this. So this is a good showing for Crash Holly in multiple fronts, in my opinion.
Rest in peace to Crash.
Exactly. Rest in peace. My honorable mention for worst match of the night will go to the King of the Ring quarterfinal between Rikishi and Chris Benoit. Because apparently Benoit did not care about being King of the Ring. He just wanted to beat the daylights out of Rikishi. and got himself disqualified, and it was a short match.
You know,
there it is.
You know, Rikishi got his ass kicked
throughout the night.
It makes me think maybe everybody knew he ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They knew. This is revenge, sucker.
Dude, that's our cash cow, man.
For hitting the golden goose. That's funny. They all knew, and that's why Steve Austin came back ready to trash him. Somebody, put the word in.
I remember thinking, like, damn, Rikishi's getting his ass kicked tonight, like super kicked, and I was like, oh yeah, this is technically supposed to be 7 months after he ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin, but we wouldn't find out for another, few months.
Yeah, so. I guess they were protecting him because he had the arm injury and he got hurt multiple times throughout the day, throughout the match, or throughout the event, I should say. But yeah, he was getting smoked on this night multiple times.
With Benoit with the chair, Val Venus used the steps or the steps, steel steps. So
nuts,
man.
What did they do to y'all? And then
he
we
said,
found
I
out
run y'all over. Like,
no. Yeah, that's crazy. I only ran Steve over. What you mad at me for, Val Venus? You were lucky to have a job.
I did it for you guys too.
Right. Because he's not here, you're on TV. And when he comes back, you're not going to be on TV no more. So you should have been on my side. I don't know.
Kurt Angle, luckily, did not try to kill Rikishi.
He's a nice, classy man, that Kurt Angle. But however, let's transition to the top non-wrestling happening. He was not classy to Boston whatsoever. As my top non-wrestling happening is Edge, Christian, and Kurt Angle, all clowning Boston sports.
Obviously, this is a very special night in the life of your Olympic hero. True, we all know. Because I'm going to do something in this town that nowadays is practically unheard of. I'm going to do something that the Bruins could not do.
2011.
The Celtics could not do.
Look, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Patriots could not do.
Don't say it.
Red Sox could.
Don't say it.
Come to think of it, the teams in this town really do suck. The point is, your Olympic hero is going to bring home the big one. And that, my friends, is true. Or what do you people here in Boston
it was true.
Say? It's true. I'm fat. I'm unemployed. Now get me another beer.
A beer in Boston.
Yo, Kurt Angle is the best. Give me another beer. That's so good. I don't know why I think that's so hilarious.
I'm fat. I'm unemployed. Now get me another beer.
He was like practicing that before he went out there how to say
Give me another beer.
I typed it out. Beeyah.
That's pretty. Yeah, beer. That's pretty close. Shout out to our fans and listening in Boston, by the way, in Massachusetts, throughout the New England area. At this time,
we gotta get Beeyahs together sometime.
Yeah, exactly. Get a Sam Adams or something. At this time, though, Kurt Angle wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. That's the thing about Kurt Angle. It's true, because he wasn't lying.
He wasn't.
At this point, you got to remember, we're in 2000. At this point, the Patriots hadn't won any Super Bowls. They just drafted Tom Brady like 2 months prior to this. So it's crazy to think about, right? Man. The Celtics hadn't won an NBA championship since 1986. So we're going on 14 years since the Celtics had won a championship. The Boston Bruins hadn't won a championship since 1972. And, of course, you get the Boston Red Sox, who hadn't won anything since 1918. And they were fully in the midst of the curse of the great Bambino, which, terrorized them for almost 100 years. Only the Cubs had a 100-year drought, but the Red Sox almost got to 100 years, real close. Later on in the show, Edge and Christian came out to haunt Boston fans even more by reenacting the error from Bill Buckner in the 1986 World Series. That's funny. A wild one.
It's funny because the audio is better for Kurt, so I don't have the audio of the
Christian
one, but when my top non-wrestling happening is the Edge and Christian recreating the 1986 World Series.
Yeah, one of them is out in the Mets jersey, the other is out in the Red Sox jersey, and one of them pretends to hit the ball, and the other just looks between their legs.
Bill Buckner.
For those who didn't know, or who don't know, the Red Sox were playing the New York Mets in the 1986 World Series. Same year the Celtics won their last championship before this point. So Boston went from almost having 2 titles to just 1. In Game 6, though, with the Red Sox up in the series 3-2, Bill Buckner let a routine ball go through his legs, allowing the Mets to score the game-winning run to extend the series to 7 games. And wouldn't you know, the Red Sox lost Game 7 by a score of 8-5.
Oh,
damn! So the Bill Buckner play, who Bill Buckner I think passed away in the last like 5-6 years. I gotta look that up. Rest in peace to Bill Buckner. Unless, hopefully, I didn't kill Bill Buckner. I thought I saw that somewhere. Let's see here.
He
Bill
died
Buckner.
in May
2019. Okay, so I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm like, am I tripping? But rest in peace to Bill Buckner. It's a shame that, that's pretty much what he's kind of known for. He's a really good ball player back in the day. The same for like a Scott Norwood from the Bills. He missed a field goal, but he's a great kicker. But that one play kind of haunts you, unfortunately. But look, it's not all sad for Boston, all right? Because things would change, as Nick kind of alluded to earlier when he's rattling off years, right? Because starting just that damn February 2001, that Tom Brady guy, well, I guess it wouldn't be February 2001, it'd be February 2002. So 2001 into February 2002, this Tom Brady guy gets into the starting lineup for the Patriots, and all of a sudden they win the Super Bowl.
Oh.
And mind you, by this point, the Patriots are probably the 4th team in town. Like, if the Red Sox are 1, maybe the Celtics are 2, the Bruins are probably 3, the Patriots are firmly 4. Because they hadn't won anything, and they hadn't been really any sort of good outside of 85 and 96 when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And lost to those in those Super Bowls.
Packers,
but
right?
Packers or Bears.
The
And 96 one was the Packers against Brett Favre.
That was like the first one I paid attention to.
But the one before that was against the 85 Bears. So 46-10. And it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. But so them winning was like, whoa, look at the Patriots, right? And then the ultimate happened a couple years later, 2004, when the Red Sox finally broke the curse.
Everybody was a Red Sox fan. They beat the vaunted Yankees, man.
I guess. And when they were down 3-0 in the ALCS.
I was so excited.
Then they just swept the Cardinals in the World Series 4-0 and then won the World Series. And then won it again in 2007. And then again in 2013. And then again in 2018, I think they won another one?
Yep.
Jesus. So, Boston fans, enjoyed some championships, right? Because, of course, the Patriots, they've won 6 in the last 25 years. Let's not forget about the Celtics, who ended their drought in 2008. And, oh, by the way, just won another one in 2024. I don't know about 2025 or 2026. We know 2025 is out. But 2026, we'll see, because Jason Tatum is hurt with the Achilles injury. Yeah. And even the Bruins got on the board.
Loading some guys.
That's true. Traded Porzingis, traded, what's his name? Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, yeah.
But even the Bruins got on the board in 2011.
Yeah. And they've been in the finals, I think, 2 or 3 times. So,
something like that.
And I know they went back at least one more time. Lost that
I think
but
they lost, but they haven't won since 2011. And now here's the thing, though. I'm not sure how many titles their teams are going to win, though, in the near future. It was a good 25-year stretch, though, for Boston sports. Yes. All right, great 25-year stretch. I mean, if Philly had a stretch like that, I mean, people would be in heaven, right?
Yeah.
But it happened in Boston. The thing is, though, the Patriots, how close are they really to winning another Super Bowl? I don't know. I mean, Drake May is good, but like
Rabel good enough?
They're still playing in the same division with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Playing in the same conference with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, who wasn't even in the playoffs last year.
Justin
Herbert. Let's not forget about the Denver Broncos are pretty good now. They were in the playoffs last year with the Bo Nix, There's some good teams, Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. Can't forget that. If Tua's healthy, the Dolphins could be good. So it's just, thing is, it's tough to do. And to me, it feels like the Patriots right now feel like post-Jordan Bulls. When Jordan won 6 championships, and once he left, it was like, well, they're just another team now. Just another normal team again. Welcome back to the pack. The organization for the Bulls didn't necessarily nail the succession plan for the Bulls. And, probably the Patriots, same thing, probably won't contend for, at least for a title for a while. But, they're hoping Mike Vrabel turns it around, of course. So we'll see. But, yeah, Boston getting torn apart by Edge and Christian and Kurt Angle was my top 9 wrestling happening, and I'm glad to see yours was pretty much the same thing. What was your worst non-wrestling happening? I already talked about mine, but what was yours?
I'll play it for you.
New York City. It was the 14th consecutive sellout in Madison Square Garden for the WWF.
Oh, man.
And it was on hand. I know you were there. Right. And the King caught up, ladies and gentlemen. An old friend of mine. Guy I used to loan money to every now and then. Oh, you
That wasn't a joke.
Donald Trump, the Donald, right here. Of course, other than seeing me, what brings you out here tonight to the Garden?
Well, I'm a great friend of Vince. He's done
We
an
know.
amazing job, and we love it. We really love it.
Who's your favorite superstar?
Well, I think other than you, I'd have to go with The Rock.
Smart choice.
That was really a stirring interview. Is this the same thing you had on last night, Garden? No, I got several of these, JR. Come on, what's the matter with you? Tell you mine. And what about you? Give me a break. What about Donald, though, huh? Hanging around with the King. Nice-looking young lady with him, too. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Donald should not run for president. He should run for King of New York.
Wait, what? What was that last thing?
Yeah, he said
that was the line.
That was the line. He said Donald Trump should not run for president. Donald didn't listen to Jerry the King Lawler.
He did not.
Did it twice. Did it 3 times, honestly. When you think about it. Instead, he should run for King of New York. And Trump heard that and said, "What about King of America? Forget New York. Let's go bigger. Let's go King of America." So there's that. But I did not have that as my worst non-wrestling happening. I just had it as a random thought. But we did get a lot more visuals of Donald Trump on the show than I was expecting.
Yes, I didn't even remember this
no
part
recollection
at all.
And of course, needless to say, the McMahon-Trump relationship runs deep. Linda McMahon, at this point, she was on the show, was only the CEO of WWF back then. Now she runs the Department of Education in the United States. And if you're not from here, you're probably wondering, why? Can't tell you why. I mean, I can tell you why, but we don't have all day. But let's move on to any hidden gems in or out of the ring, good sir.
Eddie Guerrero, Valvinus, I thought was a really fun match.
Man, I 100% agree.
I love that Chyna and Trish didn't really take away from either. Even though they got involved, it didn't feel like they were a focal point.
But it was good that they got involved because they're capable. So I'm glad that they did give them something to do while they're out there.
Yeah, not a lot of wasted time. I put a lot of fluidity, fast paced. We didn't get these types of matches in this era of WWE. Like it was just quick matches here, and even after Vince Russo left, they didn't really expand the match lengths. It was kind of a lot of the same. So I thought when you get time to work, you're usually the match is going to be pretty good. And when you have guys like Eddie Guerrero, and I thought Val Venis was good in the ring back then. From 98 to, maybe 2000, 2001, I don't think he was bad in the ring at all. So it kind of just meshed pretty well for a King of the Ring quarterfinal that I'm sure nobody remembers, but I thought it was a hidden gem on this show.
This is like the quintessential hidden gem, because if you told me, do you remember the King of the Ring quarterfinals from 2000? I'm like, hell no, I don't remember that.
I don't even remember they had quarterfinals on here. I thought it was just like semifinals and finals. I was surprised they had quarterfinals on here.
If you ask me about the quarters, I'm like, I didn't watch that episode of Raw. I don't remember that episode of Raw or SmackDown. But yeah, it was on a pay-per-view. Don't remember this at all. But having watched it back 25 years later, yeah, I enjoyed it. And Val Venus won with a fisherman suplex, which is kind of surprising.
I said
but
I'm a mark for the perfect plex. I always call it the perfect plex.
I'm not calling it the perfect plex unless Mr. Perfect does it.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Good.
It's the fisherman suplex and other people do it, but it's the perfect plex when Kurt Hennig does it because he does it perfectly.
I was like, why doesn't every wrestler why don't they use this move? Like, it's such a good pinning combination. But I guess not everyone can.
Not everyone could be perfect, man. Not like Kurt Hennig and Sean Stasiak, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like perfect Sean Stasiak. Let's move on to random thoughts. We spent all this time talking about the King of the Ring without talking about the actual King of the Ring. The tournament itself. Did you have any thoughts about the tournament, which ended with Kurt Angle defeating Rikishi to be crowned the 2000 King of the Ring? Any thoughts on the tournament, and what were your thoughts on King Kurt as the winner?
I liked it. I hated Angle back then, but like it was a sports hate type. I was just like, he's really entertaining, but I don't want to see him win type thing. Because he's so entertaining, like on the mic and like even during matches when he complains and stuff. I was just like, this guy's like hilarious. I just don't want to see him win because he's a heel. But him winning the King of the Ring, I didn't like Billy Gunn winning the previous year. I thought it was lame for like a heel to win. And again, like I felt like heels won a lot, early. You had Owen Hart 94, 95 was Mabel, 96 Stone Cold as a heel that he still wasn't like Stone Cold Steve Austin that we really know. And then 97 was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And then 98 you had Ken Shamrock, and then 99 was Billy Gunn. So I'm just like, man, like it's heel heavy, but I was fine with Kurt winning, like an entertaining heel at least for me. I wasn't like Owen might have been the closest entertaining heel to me that won it, but I still hated him like at 94, and I was a younger kid, and I was just like, he's so mean to Brett, like I hate him, and so yeah, and the tournament, you have like a regular tournament instead of like just 8 matches or 4 matches and then 3 matches. I don't know. I like the tournament more, even though there were a lot of short matches. I just like they had more of tournament matches on the show and then obviously on TV prior to that. So I thought it was a good tournament for that year.
Of the first 2 rounds, the only matches that were over 5 minutes, there was only 2 matches that was only over 5 minutes in the first 2 rounds. It looks like I count 5 matches throughout the whole tournament that were over 5 minutes.
Wow.
And again, this was a 32-person tournament, 31 men, 1 woman. Too many, in my opinion. You don't need 32 people in the King of the Ring. I'm sorry. This is how we got Bubba Ray and Devon in the tournament.
Maybe they thought because they had SmackDown, because this is the first year they had both Raw and SmackDown before the King of the Ring. So maybe they thought they would need more for TV, but I guess they realized
did not.
We don't need to.
They did not. We got Bubba and D-Ron in here, Big Boss Man, Grandmaster Sexay, Shane McMahon, Dean Malenko, Al Snow, Matt Hardy in 2000, and Chyna beat the Godfather. Chyna got all the way to she got to the second round and then lost to Eddie Guerrero. So there's that. But yeah, just too many people. Way too many people in the tournament. 16, I think, is a good number, and I'm good either way, whether you want to do single elimination or fatal 4-ways. I see the value in both. Speaking of, we mentioned Vince McMahon already. He's the one backstage calling himself Joe Cool because he's supposed to be chill during this 6-man tag, and Triple H and Shane was immediately like, he ain't gonna be cool, and he wasn't. He lost the title for everybody. Only at a King of the Ring can we get Bull Buchanan versus Crash Holly,
man,
on pay-per-view.
I guess that's the thing you run into when you have like the quarterfinals on pay-per-view as well.
This is why you shouldn't do it. That's a TV match if I ever seen one. Another random note is that Mick Foley and Ivory were at WWF New York with Ivory behind the bar serving drinks. Unlike Jerry Lynn, Ivory seemed to be having a great time with it. She's back there with a big smile, serving up the drinks, or at least she looked like she was serving drinks, having fun.
Is that a good enough cocktail for you, JR?
That'll be $8. That's crazy. Yeah, Jerry Lynn really, really, really blew that promo.
Every time we go to WWF in New York now, I'm gonna remember that Jerry Lynn promo.
Judgment Day. This is a good enough promo, JR. It's like, yeah, Jerry, that's your job, is to cut promos. And if you don't want to do them, then maybe you shouldn't work here. That's part of the gig, man.
Whoopity-doo!
Can you imagine Ivory or Mick Foley taking a taste of that?
Can you imagine?
Like, well, whoopity-doo.
Can you imagine somebody watching themselves self-sabotage their career in front of everybody because they were just pouty and mad about it? Like, I understand. I'm still not. I get the frustration that he had. I understand he wanted to be on the show, but like they gave you the right. He was, and they gave you the mic, bro. Like, prove him wrong here. Prove to them now that they should have had you on the show because you cut such a great promo. I want to see what you're about to do next. Instead, you went Judgment Day and then wondered why you didn't get booked again. Like, I felt like self-sabotage.
Right before WrestleMania, Karrion Kross watched that. It was like, I am not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. When I get a shot to make it, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put my
now
best
he's
foot forward.
Champions. Look at him.
Look at him. Look at Karrion getting a PLE match after just not tanking the promo because he was mad. Outrageous stuff. But Mick Foley, by the way, was retired. I guess he didn't care. This is Commissioner Foley. Was he Commissioner Foley yet?
No, because so he said he had a business meeting in Connecticut. That was what it was for.
Oh, so the next day he becomes a commissioner, pretty much.
Yeah.
Commissioner with the shirt, because commissioner didn't go all the way down the shirt, so the ER. And his office would be like a forklift or something like that, and you have a gavel. Commissioner Foley was a good time.
It was.
It was a good time.
I
banged the gavel.
I did not appreciate it back then, but I do now.
No, I appreciated it back then. I did like Commissioner Foley, and you bang the gavel. He was a commissioner for a while too. I feel like he was commissioner for
like
a good bit.
I think like 6 months, because he did Vince did the You're Fired thing. I don't think it was in September because that would have felt really short. So maybe it was December, but yeah,
I forget. And I just know that William Regal replaced him as the commissioner, and he was good too. Don't get me wrong, but Mick Foley was fun. It was fun. Another note is that Trish Stratus didn't have any matches on the show, but she made 2 appearances and took a bump in each of them. She was a manager for Val Venus in the King of the Ring quarterfinal, and then she managed TNA, Test and Albert, in their fatal 4-way tag team match for the tag titles? Elimination. So we got that. Look at that. Just talking about fatal 4-ways and how they used to throw them out there. And here we are, fatal 4-way elimination. For what? But she was out there with them for that, and she took a bump in each match. She got dragged off the apron in the Val Venus Eddie Guerrero match, and then Lita knocked her down in the tag title match. And Chyna, I should say, dragged her off the apron in the first match.
Well, I think in that Val Venus Eddie Guerrero match, some fan you hear off camera says, "I want to see some TNA," and then Mike picks it up, and then JR tries covering for it, saying, Trish is shouting words of encouragement to Val Venus. It just really made me laugh. I thought that was funny.
Words of encouragement.
Like, she wasn't even talking. Like, the camera was on her, but then she was just kind of looking. She was not shouting. So I guess JR wanted to.
And I'm sure somebody with a deep voice.
Yeah.
And clearly not Trish Stratus.
Yeah, it's very audible. So I couldn't ignore that one.
There you go. Elsewhere, Scotty 2 Hotty came out for the tag title match wearing the belt upside down. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not. Oh.
I'm not sure if he did it on purpose or he just made a mistake. It feels like a purposeful thing, though, right? Yeah, remember at this time, he could have been trying to be fun and hip. He was already doing the spiked hair and the bucket hats with the hair sticking out the bucket hat. And bucket hats are seen as like some hip hopper type thing. Nowadays, it's like not that at all. Or at least not to some people. He had the baggy jeans and everything like that. But maybe the upside down title was part of that whole deal. Because remember, this is when people used to wear football and basketball jerseys backwards for fashion.
Yeah.
Like Criss Cross was doing that in the early 90s, and then Nelly started doing it like in the late 90s, around this time. he was wearing like Rams jerseys backwards, and people were like, "That's cool. I want to see the person's name on the front." Like, so that could have been part of that, and kind of like at this time, hip hop was sort of seen as not mainstream as much as it was like anti-culture. Like, we're gonna flip the rules around with hip hop. I guess maybe that's what Scotty Too Hotty was going for. I don't know. Either way, the belt he was wearing was upside down. And Too Cool never saw the tag team titles ever again. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Well, I should say Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Too Hotty didn't, because Scotty Too Hotty did win it with Rikishi again later on down the line.
That's right.
Speaking of Scotty, it didn't matter what he did because he had arguably the most over move in pro wrestling at the time. The Worm. Pause. Super over. I mean, the People's Elbow and the Stunner were probably 1 and 1A, but the Worm was like right there. I mean, kids were trying it at recess all the time in my school. I don't know about yours, but like the kids who could do it, they tried it.
I don't get it. Why is it just as popular as like the People's Elbow, or like Scotty too hot? Like, I just don't get it. I don't, and I'm not like being mean. I didn't think it was like terrible. I just don't know why it was so popular.
People just liked, I don't know, they liked the theatrics. His face when he would do the little bulldog, and
his face was pretty funny.
He would just light up.
He's in position.
He's in position, y'all. And he would jump up. He would do like the little he'd stomp his feet a little bit, and then he'd do this ridiculous jump and just spell out worm, and people got into it. It's something they could chant along with him.
Yeah.
WORM, and they go, ooh, he did the worm. He would do it all. It's kind of impressive to see anybody do the worm, let alone Scotty Too Hotty, And then he would get up and do the arm. I don't know what the arm thing was. We go, hoo. And then would just slap people in the chest.
Yeah. That's
After all of that, would just go, pap, and he would beat everybody with that. Pretty sure he beat Big Show with that one time. It's unstoppable. He would beat everybody with that move. But yeah, I don't know, man. People just got behind it. It was fan interaction. It was fun. It was goofy. People dug it, man.
Yeah.
The People's Elbow also is goofy too when you really think about it. It takes all the time in the world to pull off the move, and it's still super devastating. Meanwhile, you could have been got up and moved like The Rock did on this night,
playing possum.
Exactly, but everybody else is like, "Oh, I'm so beat up. I can't even
move.
move.
I can't move to the side.
I am paralyzed to the mat right now." And there goes The Rock. Oh, there he goes again. Oh no, here comes the elbow.
I want to know, is there a story out there as to how the People's Elbow came to be? Because
I think it's something he just started doing on house shows, and
it's TV though. It's so you're watching, you're like, oh, they'll get up, and to have so many big wins just from an elbow to the chest, it makes me laugh. I was like, just the visual is extremely funny.
That's why they call it sports entertainment and sometimes. You got to entertain the folks too. And there's nothing more entertainment than the Worm. This was far cry from, territory wrestling where you're working stiff and hardcore wrestling and death matches and, Japanese style, strong style. None of that. No. We're going full entertainment mode here with the Worm. Even the finish of the move, the payoff, it's just a slap across the chest at the end of the day. Just pap! It's a quick little... he's kind of smacking you down because he's putting his whole weight behind it. He's falling to the ground. But, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It probably cave in my chest, but, these wrestlers are big. They work out every day. Unless he's just really strong with that slap, pow, on your chest. I understand your concern and your... confusion, but sometimes you just got to roll with it, man. Yeah. And they rolled with it. We got a weird, fully loaded commercial I thought during the show, which is all about the desire to be a champion. And it's like, this wasn't Night of Champions, so why y'all doing this at Fully Loaded? I don't get it.
With that, I felt this similar to you about the WWF.com relaunch.
Oh man, that was Strange. What was that again? I just wrote that it was weird, but I think I just kind of like, I'm not taking notes on this because it's so weird, but please remind me.
A guy is in a cannon, gets shot out of a cannon, I guess, launching, and apparently they're going to relaunch WWF.com the next Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he landed in bigger lady's apartment, house, landed right between her legs while she's having popcorn, watching TV, and she's enjoying it. I guess he's unconscious because he doesn't move, but his head's right between her legs. So,
and that's how you launch a new website?
Yeah, attitude, baby.
That's bizarre stuff. How did WWE survive doing stupid stuff like this? I don't get it. What were we on as a society back in 2000 that commercials like this were acceptable to the public?
And she was surprised at first, and then she started stuffing her mouth with popcorn again. She's enjoying it.
Strange stuff. Real strange stuff going on over at WWF.com at this point. And let's see here. Another note that I had, Road Dogg being put through 2 tables. That was pretty awesome.
But
that
was a good spot.
DX still won because they put the Dudleys in a dumpster. That was a dumb match.
Which, by the way,
could have been the worst match of the night, but it was worse.
I mean, it was close. They had the exits, on both sides. That's how Tori got out. But it's like you could have just gotten out. But
I don't know. And then after the match, Tori just stays in the ring while the Dudley boys beat up her homies. Like, when they give X-Pac and Road Dogg to 3D, that was her time to run. They're not looking at you. They're literally off their feet, and she just stays there.
Yeah.
Like a damsel in distress in a horror movie.
There's
like
a table with her name on it. You're just
gonna
admire it.
Run! I feel like I'm watching a horror movie when the final girl is running and she just randomly falls on nothing. She's running on smooth asphalt and then goes, oh! And then Jason, who's like a mile away at the time of the fall, by the time she gets up, he's right there. Like, boom, I'm here. But that's how it felt. She just like was frozen with fear. Get out of there. It was just uncomfortable to watch. It was uncomfortable. And then they put her through the table and Bubba's sticking his tongue out. And it's like, I almost turned the TV off, bro.
Yeah, that was, Devon doing the little WhatsApp thing and did it to her and stayed there.
Just terrible. Terrible stuff.
Not great treatment of the women on this show.
That belonged in WCW. And yet, there it was. WWF. Looking goofy.
I mean,
but
this might be the worst show of 2000 for WWF. I mean, they were rocking, and I remember not liking this show. But after it happened, I was kind of like, ugh. But WCW was so much worse that everyone's like, oh yeah, like I prefer this still. And they could have basically gotten away with anything and people would have ate it up. And I'm sure I was one of those people.
I was too in June of 2000 for sure. But that's all the notes I have. What are your notes?
That USA Today ran a funny little story comparing wrestling to baseball. They highlighted that a little bit with The Rock and Mike Piazza. Apparently, I did not read this, but they just highlighted it and they were going back and forth, joking about the real national pastime, so wrestling or baseball. And so Mike Piazza was on the Mets at this time. I remember wanting him as a Philly so bad. Like back then, I was like, I never really have a favorite player. Even growing up, it's not like one person I loved. I just liked the team above all. But Mike Piazza was like a guy where I was like, I would love that guy on my team. Like I followed him to, from when he was with the Dodgers and the Phillies would go there, and I'm like, damn, Mike Piazza is like amazing. And then he got traded to the Marlins. I don't think if he played for them, it was like maybe one game, but I don't think he ever played for them because he got traded right to the Mets after that, and then was a Met. And I used to get Mets games in my South Jersey home. Like I got a New York channel that the Mets played on, so I did watch a lot of Mets games. So it sucked as a Phillies fan because they were bad most of my childhood. 93 was the first year I watched, so that was a good year, and I wasn't watching like every single game. Like I was 8 years old, and as a Phillies fan, you have the Braves on TBS like every night, basically, and then the Mets, on the whatever New York station we had in South Jersey on my cable provider had. And so I was watching a lot of Braves and Mets baseball too. As a Phillies fan, it kind of sucks because like they were good, better than the Phillies at least. So, kind of happy I didn't turn into a Braves or Mets fan, but I did like baseball, so I would watch that. And obviously, it's their broadcast, so if the Braves won, it's not like I would get mad the way I do now, where like I troll and stuff. If they lose, I wouldn't do any of that. I wouldn't get like mad if they lost. I wouldn't be happy that they lost, or I wouldn't get mad if they won. So it was just like, oh, Braves and Mets, like, okay, it's baseball, and I'll watch it. And I'll probably watch these guys in the playoffs. So it was fun. It was fun watching more baseball than I do, or I did, back then. Like, we didn't have the internet, so we just had TV, and it was like I could watch 3 baseball games. Switch. A lot of the Mets games were the day games, I think. So it wasn't like every single Mets game, but some of the day games. The way they're, they split stations now a little bit up there in New York, I think it was like the same. So whatever channel we had, the Mets were on. So I thought it was funny to see this little thing about USA Today running a story comparing the two. I was like, whatever.
What a goofy story that must have been.
It must have been.
I hadn't read it neither, but no consideration for football, I guess, in that.
National pastime? I don't know.
Is it just like
that popular as it is now?
It's more popular than wrestling at that point for sure. Look, wrestling was very popular still in 2000, but we're talking about football. We're talking about the 34th Super Bowl was just played. You think that was not the massive sporting event it still is? Like, yeah. Like, people forget how popular football was in the 90s. When did it take over as a national pastime? Probably about this time. It wasn't baseball at this point, honestly. I don't think it was. I think football had already either had taken over or begun to take over.
Yeah, we're like 2 years removed from that home run chase of Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. That kind of recaptured a lot of fans. And maybe it was like, well, it's only been 2 years, but I'm sure it wasn't like as popular.
I will say that the new like great age of quarterbacks was also hadn't started yet by this point. When you're talking about out the door went at like around the same time, Dan Marino, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, all were gone around the same time. Joe Montana was done in the early 90s, so your great quarterbacks weren't really there. You had Kurt Warner in like 99, Donovan McNabb, who was just starting, so really not even Donovan McNabb, honestly. Maybe Jeff Garcia, all right, Mark Brunell, and like a Drew Bledsoe or something like that. Like it was only
Dante
it wasn't that many.
Culpepper was pretty
he had just
highly touted, right?
Just started it. Just started coming on in like 99, 2000. But by like 2000,
him with him and Randall, right? Randall was like there, but
right.
Him and Cunningham and Culpepper were there at the same time, right?
I don't know if they were, honestly.
Okay. I just remember I had a neighbor that was a Vikings fan, and Randall Cunningham. I was like, oh yeah, I know that name.
They could have been. I honestly don't know. But also, I forgot to mention that Peyton Manning was drafted in '98.
Yeah.
But once you move forward to like 03, 04, 05, and 06, then you get Tom Brady. You get Peyton Manning at the peak of his powers. You start to get like a Eli Manning starts coming up. Not Peyton Manning. Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees. Like this next golden age of great quarterbacks and great football. Of course, McNabb was still around for a while. And there's others I'm probably forgetting off the top of my head that I can't think of right now. And eventually you had another age with Stafford and all the other guys after that. So yeah, this time maybe there's still a little bit of a debate because the best quarterback in the league right now is Kurt Warner, and nobody knew who the hell he was like a year prior, right? I don't even know who would be the second best quarterback at this point in time. Steve McNair, maybe like who they just beat in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So, and then again, 2000 season, the Super Bowl quarterbacks were Trent Dilfer and Kerry Collins. That's what I'm saying. Like it was a little bit of a rough time. Rich Gannon was around still. Yeah, Rich Gannon was nice. He won an MVP, but yeah, it was a little bit of a rough time, I think, for quarterbacks. And I think that kind of drives the popularity, or at least it did at that point. And it doesn't hurt now that the NFL has Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow and on and on. there's a lot of good quarterbacks that they can build around, and a lot of good players in general. But I think at this little slice of time, there was a little bit of a lack of star power maybe in the NFL that wouldn't exist just a couple years later, I should say. But yeah, any other random thoughts from you?
I thought it was funny that they cut away from Triple H's water spit spot in the main event to show Stephanie for some reason. I was like, you missed the water spit.
Can't miss that.
What the hell?
That's part of the entrance. Yeah.
Kevin Dunn, what are we doing? What are we doing? It was kind of annoying at WWF New York. Mick Foley could not hear anything. They were so loud, and it's like they were talking to him, and he's just kind of like sitting there and like delayed reactions and stuff like that. It's like, he can't hear you, man. And Lawler was trying to crack jokes, and Foley would not like react at all. And I was like, all right, like get away from. I just hate when it's like you see that they're doing a spot. Why so loud, man? Like I never understood that, even as a kid, and I still don't understand it now. And someone's doing like a live shot of something. Why are you in the background acting like a fool, man? Like just stop. It frustrated me.
Have some manners.
Just like the tags and the handicap dumpster match didn't make sense. Tags in the main event, man, there's no logical explanation for the way that main event went. There's no logical explanation for Earl Hebner being the referee in that match because he didn't care who the legal man was. I don't understand why. I guess they felt like they didn't need to pay attention to that crap, but it's so it's so obvious when even as you're watching as a fan. If you're not really like paying attention, at least you pay attention to who tags in and out. It's literally, it could have just been a 6-pack challenge, and then any pinfall attempt would have been legal. So it was so annoying watching it because of just how the stipulation was. So for me, like that's a big reason why it was not my match of the night. Obviously, the ending with The Rock winning was. Honestly, I didn't expect that. I'm not sure anyone expected him to actually lose the title for Triple H to. But again, he wouldn't be champion for another 2 years after this. You know, you think like, oh, an ending like that, he probably won the title back pretty shortly after that, or at least once. No, the next time he was champion, obviously aided by a quad injury, was when he beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18. Kind of wild.
That is kind of wild, especially because he was such a central figure at this point that he went so long without winning it again.
Yeah.
He did get hurt in 2001.
And it was a while after that. So
yeah,
May of 2001 is when he tore the quad. So yeah, you would think, oh, before May 2001, he probably won it back. Nope.
I got a little bit of breaking news, by the way, to end the show with. It's not really breaking because it's been announced for about 2 hours now. But the Wing Bowl is coming back. Did you know this?
Not WIP though, right?
Nah, it's gonna be. It looks like
cheerleaders or something, or Delilah's, right?
Cross and Broad announced it,
Oh.
so maybe it's them hosting it. But no info on the site. Just it's taking place at the Plaza Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
What? Las Vegas.
Yeah, Wing Bowl here's the post from Crossing Broad. Wing Bowl is back, but not in Philly. It's taking place at the Plaza Las Vegas in February 2026. Same competition, different location. More info on the site. So, yeah. The Plaza Hotel and Casino is bringing to Las Vegas the iconic Wing Bowl, the premier chicken wing competition that was founded in Philadelphia. The main event, Wing Bowl 2026, will take place on February 7th, 2026. So, we got a whole episode about the Wing Bowl you can watch, or you can listen to, I should say, not watch, listen to in the archives there. So, go check that out. But, yeah, surprising for sure. But any other notes from King of the Ring 2000?
Let me check. We got we talked about Rikishi getting killed all night.
Yeah.
That was wild. I was just like, man. Teddy Long sighting as a referee. I don't know if he did more than one match, but he was the referee for the Kurt Angle Chris Jericho match. So I don't remember him how many times he refed back then. I just remember that guy looks familiar. And I had a WCW card of him for when he was in WCW, like a trade-in card. And I was like, oh, Teddy Long. I was like, that guy looks familiar. And obviously they never called the referees by their names at this point. So they never called Teddy Long Teddy Long. So I was like, maybe I'm going insane, but that looks like Teddy Long. And it's like the internet wasn't really like talking much about referees and stuff, like at least where I was, commiserating about wrestling. So I always like pointing out when Teddy Long was a referee for some reason. It just makes me feel like it was like my first like insider thing where I was like, I know that guy from WCW.
old Teddy Theodore Long.
But yeah, that's all I got. Follow me at _Picone on Twitter and TikTok. Follow me at Picone Nick on Threads and at Picone on Blue Sky. You follow us at Shooters Radio on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and we're at shootersradio.com and shooterspod.com. You can check me out at crossingbroad.com as well.
All right. I am at Vaughn M. Johnson on X, at Vaughn Johnson 166 on IG, at Vaughn Johnson on Blue Sky and Threads. You can check me out there. I think I'm on actually at Vaughn Johnson 166 on Blue Sky too. No, on Blue Sky on Threads as well. But you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/shootersradio, where you can request a future deep dive just like this one. And when you do, you can make a cameo on the show that we're diving deep into. Once again, patreon.com/shootersradio.
I'm gonna scrutinize you to the fullest, pasteurize you, homogenize you, and synchronize you back into morality.